Good evening, everybody. I apologize for not doing my NFL picks last week. Last week was a very, very busy week for me. For those who don't know, I am a caregiver, and I take care of my mother-in-law and my wife, and they were both very much under the weather. And in fact, I definitely would appreciate some prayers and positive thoughts for the both of them. They are recovering nicely, and I actually do have time this evening, and I'm just grateful for that, and I'm just grateful for all of my subscribers. And you know what, I say a special shout out to my favorite online niece, Onside April. I really appreciate you so much, and I hope that you find this upload to your satisfaction. And I hope you do well on the picks. And we're going to start it up right about now, ladies and gentlemen. I missed y'all, but I'm going to come back with a vengeance. I'm just saying. I gotta pick up the pace. That is my season record. Now, week before last, I was 7-8. Now, I did do some picks, but I wasn't on the air, and I was at 500. I was 7-7. Hence the season record of 82-55, which is a good record, but I can and will do better. And I hope to do better with this year picks. And I'm going to start it off with tomorrow night's game. And tomorrow night, the Baltimore Ravens, and now the front runner for MVP, Mr. Lamar Jackson, going to go into Miami and take on the Dolphins. And listen, to me, Tua sucks. And he has done nothing to change my mind at all. Meanwhile, I'm afraid for Mr. Jackson because there's just too much heat on his plate. I mean, I don't know if this guy's going to make it through the season. Because if they're not running the football, and he's got to run it most of the time, I tell you what, you talk about fall from grace. Man, Le'Veon Bell's like the third running back. Fourth if you count Lamar Jackson. It is sad to see Le'Veon Bell. I know he scored a touchdown last week. Man, I bet you he wish he stayed in Pittsburgh. I can tell you that. He went from being the best running back in football to being a nobody. Oh, God. And that's why running backs don't get money. It's because of guys like Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley. That's why they don't get paid. All you have to do is look at Le'Veon Bell. Todd Gurley's not even in the league. And it's hard out here for a running back. I'm just saying. But going back to this particular game, my thing is, for the most part, is follow the quarterback. And I'm following Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. As much as I would love for Miami to win, I just can't pick them. I can't do it. I have to go Ravens 27, Miami 20. Man. I mean, I tell you what, that Miami coach, he could be on the clock. And what I mean by on the clock is his seat is hot. And I know that some guys like him. I think he's a big blowhard, and he's yet another Belichick failure as far as that coaching tree. Now, next up, the Buffalo Bills take on the New York Jets. I tell you what, the Jets have played hard these last few weeks. I know they lost on Thursday night. They lost their quarterback early. Well, their second string, who might be their first string. I tell you, that Mike White dude, he played very well. And he'll be back this week. I don't know what to make of this Buffalo Bills team. They opened up the season losing to my Steelers, which I'm very happy for. You cannot lose to Jacksonville and not score a touchdown. Not with all the weapons that Josh Allen has at his disposal. I tell you, he gave away his part of MVP. He's not winning it. You cannot be an MVP contender and put up a stinker like that. Cannot do it. Man. Now, are the Jets a great team by any stretch? Absolutely not. But they do have a nice pass rush. That front four is formidable, and they're going to get better. They're starting to play for this coach. Man, this is going to be a team that's going to be an absolute – that's a team you're not going to want to face come next month, let me tell you. Now, I do believe that Buffalo is going to bounce back in this game and win it, but it's going to be close. And I like Buffalo only by 3, 24-21. If Buffalo, if they're given 5 points or more, you go with the Jets. I wouldn't put anything on these Bills. They're not trustworthy. If they were at home, maybe. The way in fact, both backup quarterbacks have played well. And the Jets pass rush is cooking now too. Listen, I would not be shocked, but I'm not ready to take the full leap. And I do believe that Allen and the boys will have a bounce back, and I just don't trust the Jets secondary enough. I just don't. So that's why I'm going with the Bills. Now, I'm much more sure on my next pick. Tampa Bay Bucks come off of a bye week, and they're going to take on the Washington football team. And that Washington team stinks, man. Oh, my gosh. And what makes it so bad about the football team in Washington is they were supposed to be a defensive team, and they have been mediocre at best. And I'm putting it mildly. Chase Young has done absolutely nothing. Now, Montez Sweat has played very, very well, and so has Payne at the defensive tackle position. But listen, the rest of that team, they have underperformed on the defensive end. Then you have Tom Brady coming off a bye week. I mean, if you look at his record there, forget it. And they came off a bad loss. Look, that's an easy one there. I love the Buccaneers big. And Washington, it's sad. They actually have some weapons, but that quarterback is not ready. That team is not ready. They have some pieces in place, but I'm just so disappointed how that defense has let them down. And I don't think and we know Ryan Fitzpatrick's not coming back this season. That's an L7. So Tampa Bay 31, Washington 20. That's the next one. Now, the Atlanta Falcons go into Big D and take on the Cowboys. Boy, oh boy, did they get smoked last week. Love to see the Cowboys get spanked. And they got spanked by Teddy Bridgewater. Now, is Matt Ryan a better quarterback than Bridgewater? He has more weapons than Bridgewater. I think he is slightly better than Teddy Bridgewater. I'm obviously not a fan of Matt Ryan's. Anybody that knows this channel knows that. But they can definitely put up points. Now, Cowboys got exposed last week. That defense They didn't look too good. Now, there are a few big plays that went against them. I understand that. But Dak Prescott did not look. You talk about somebody not looking the part of an MVP, Dak Prescott looked off. And if you want to say it's rust, I'll give you that. Now, they play like that a couple of weeks in a row. Then if I'm a Giants fan, I would be licking my chops. Because let's face it, if you're a Dallas fan, you've seen it before. You've seen the Cowboys crash and burn. They're good for that. The problem is Atlanta's played better on the defensive end. I have to say that too. They have looked a lot better the last month or so. I do believe that Dallas, they're sort of like Buffalo. Like, I do believe they're going to bounce back. Now, I believe they'll score more points than the Bills will. But Atlanta's going to give them a fight. I don't think Dallas is going to lose 2 in a row at Jerry World. I just don't think so. So I have to go Dallas 30, Atlanta 27. Would I be shocked if the Falcons won this game? In a way, yeah, I would. Now, if the Falcons blew them out like Denver did, then there's big trouble there. And you talk about a guy in the hot seat. Mike McCarthy's seat will be scalding hot. He loses another game as bad as he did last week. I mean, they're still the Falcons. They're not that great. Let's not get it twisted. Now, next up, the Tennessee Titans are going to host the New Orleans Saints. I don't even know who the Saints quarterback is going to be. And I don't know how they won last week. I was shocked. I mean, without Derrick Henry, you know how I feel about Tannehill. I tell you what, Jameis Winston was just getting into his own. That tore down ACL. Now, when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. Taysom Hill is not a true quarterback. He's a gadget quarterback. Trevor Siemian just isn't any good. Now they got Melvin Ingram back. Alvin Kamara has been used more as a receiver than as a runner. He's been much more effective. The Saints their defense is going to keep them in the game, but I don't think the Saints are going to score enough points. I just don't. Tennessee's another team that's hard to figure out, and that's a team the Jets beat also. I tell you, would I be shocked if the Saints won this game? Absolutely not. But it's hard to go against that formula the Titans have. It really is. And I'm not a Titans fan by any stretch of the imagination, but they come up with the most opportunistic of plays. And you can tell they like playing for Mike Vrabel. They really do. He's about the only one out of that Belichick coaching tree that I respect. I'm going Tennessee 20, Saints 17, because they want to keep that stranglehold on the AFC South. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what Colt team is going to show up. I mean, Carson Wentz, man, I can't believe in him. No way. Trevor Lawrence, I know they won last week, but that was in spite of him. It wasn't because of him. And Trevor Lawrence has done nothing to sway me. He really hasn't. I think he's been disappointing. Maybe not as well. He's a rookie, so it's totally different, but Carson Wentz is probably the most disappointing quarterback in all of football. He just is. Now, they had a chance to beat Tennessee and blew it. I don't know if they can make a go of it in this division. I mean, that's a lot of games to make up. I don't see it myself, but if they're going to make any type of noise, they have to do it in this game. I like the Colts here. I think it's going to be a closer game than people I think. But I like the Colts here 27-24 over Jacksonville. Next up, the Detroit Lions go into Heinz Field and take on my Steelers. I'm going to go much more into depth on this probably hopefully sometime tomorrow, because these are the type of games that scare me as a Steeler fan, because the Steelers play up or down to the level of their competition. And we know the Lions are thirsty for a win. And I'm scared. I am, because I've seen this crew lose to teams they should not lose to, but they'll beat teams you feel they shouldn't beat. Now, I do believe the Lions could give us a scare, just because we make every backup quarterback look like Warren Moon for some reason. The problem is, I don't think Jared Goff is good enough. If you're a Detroit fan, he just isn't. I don't think he throws the deep ball well enough to scare the Steelers secondary. And we know the Steelers secondary can be had. But we also know that the Detroit offensive line stinks. And that's where the Steelers feast. I expect another 2 sacks at the very least from TJ Watt and friends. I like the Steelers here 20-17 over the Detroit Lions. I would love a blowout, but I know the Steelers too well. They won't make it that easy on me. They're going to make me sweat for everything. Next up, the New England Patriots are at home. And they'll be hosting the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns won a big game last week. I mean, they bludgeoned Cincinnati. I tell you what, that Bengals team, just when it looks like they turned the corner, I mean, that's 2 stinkers in a row for the Bungles, man. I'm just saying. Now, Baker Mayfield is out of excuses. You know, it was an OBJ problem. Listen, the best player on Cleveland on the offensive side is Nick Chubb anyway. As Nick Chubb goes, for the most part, so goes the Cleveland Browns. And you know what Belichick is going to do. He's going to force Baker to beat him. And Mac Jones is not going to turn the ball over. Mac Jones has played very well as a rookie. And I expected him to play okay. But he's played better than I expected him to play. Now, I can't say the same for the Cleveland Browns. Now, they looked good last week. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe there'll be a little bit of a letdown. And Cincinnati sort of beats them up a little bit. New England's defense is playing at a very high level. And I expect Baker Mayfield to be exposed once again. I like the Patriots here 24-20 over the Cleveland Browns. And believe me, this has nothing to do with being a Steeler fan. If that were the case, I would be going Miami over the Ravens, and I just can't do that. Listen, I'm making NFL picks, so I'm not going to lie to you. Jeez. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings go out on the left coast to take on the LA Chargers. The Vikings find another way to lose. I mean, you talk about a hot seat. Mike Zimmer's on a hot seat. And I don't see them coming anywhere close in that division. I just don't. But you know what? The Chargers haven't been great either, man. They barely beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, barely. Gee whiz. I mean, Herbert's played pretty decent, but he hasn't. Last couple of weeks, he hasn't been great. He's been good, not great. The Chargers' defense leaves a lot to be desired, especially on the back end. Now the Vikings have not been great shakes, but man, oh man, that was a heartbreaking loss to the Ravens they had. They should have won that game. That defense, the defense let them down. Everything tells me I should go with the LA Chargers. I'm not going with the LA Chargers. For some reason, I think the Vikings are. This is my upset special here. I like the Vikings 27-24 over the LA Chargers. I don't think they're ready to make a run, and that division's wide open for them. And top to bottom, I think that they are the most talented team. But as far as balance, because let's face it, obviously, even though you wouldn't know it by last week, the Chiefs have the better offensive talent. But I think top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams, I think the LA Chargers is the most balanced team in the AFC West. But I just have a feeling that Minnesota's going to win this game. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals are hosting the Carolina Panthers. No Sam Darnold, which that's addition by subtraction the way Sam Darnold was playing. I tell you what, I bet you old Terry Bradshaw would keep his mouth shut talking about Sam Darnold's the best quarterback this franchise has ever had. After 3 weeks, really? Well, how's that worked out for you, Terry? It's sad. I'm a Steeler fan. I like Bradshaw, but sometimes, man, he runs his mouth a little too quick. Now, I don't know if Kyler Murray or Colt McCoy will play. They'll probably be Colt McCoy. If you're the Arizona Cardinals, you want to give Kyler Murray at least one more week to heal because he uses his legs as much as any quarterback in football. Now, I'm pretty sure that P.J. Walker will more likely start for the Panthers. Now, he's not terrible, but I don't think he's ready for this Arizona defense. I just don't. Now, he's going to make some plays with his legs, and they'll probably run some read option, some RPO stuff, but listen, Christian McCaffrey could take over the game. I don't see him doing that against this Arizona defense. This Arizona team they're on one of those runs. I would not be shocked if they are the Super Bowl representatives. They're on that type of run. I like Arizona 24-17 over the Panthers. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles travel to the Mile High State and take on the Broncos. You know what, Jalen Hurts, and I like him. He has not played well. He's been not as inefficient as Carson Wentz, but he has not played great. He just hasn't. Meanwhile, Teddy Bridgewater played very well against the Cowboys. That was probably their most impressive win of the season, especially considering who they beat and where they beat them at. That should be a big boost for Denver, who's got to feel that the division is definitely in play for them. Denver's defense is the best in the division. Their offense, they're a don't turn it over type, but Melvin Gordon has run the ball pretty decent. Their backup got 100+ against the Cowboys. Now, the Eagle defense, they've been so-so, and it was it just came out that the Steelers were about this close to getting Fletcher Cox. Oh, I wish they had pulled that trigger. They didn't want to part with a third-round pick. I'd have served that third-round pick on a platter, but okay. I do believe it will be close because the Eagles, they're never like out of any game, but they just can't close. And I guess that'll be part of the maturation process for young Mr. Jalen Hurts. I like Denver and Bridgewater over Hurts and the Eagles 23-20. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks, minus Russell Wilson, of course, goes into Green Bay, minus Mr. Rodgers. You know, Jordan Love wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great. I think that he'll look better this week. Seattle, they have all types of problems. Geno Smith hasn't been terrible, but he sure as heck ain't Russell Wilson. And that offensive line is not great. Oh, hey, Onside April. And thank you all so much. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. I thank you all so much. And if you get a chance, just hit the replay. Because I definitely had to shout you out, no question about it. Jordan Love having 2 weeks under his belt, he's going to look better. I know he had a lot of jitters. He was facing the Chiefs in Kansas City. Now, first home game, Seattle beaten and bludgeoned. You know what? I like Jordan Love to get his first NFL win. It's going to be a close one. But I like Green Bay here 20-17 over the Seattle Seahawks. Well, they might put him in. I mean, either way, I'm going with Green Bay on this. But I tell you what, I'm so sick of Aaron Rodgers. And there's been talk about him coming to the Steelers next week. I don't want any parts of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's a selfish son of a gun. And I'm trying to keep it PG because later on tonight, I'll be talking about some real life stuff, and I will be really going in. But that's another story. You know, everybody will come up with an excuse for Aaron Rodgers, but when it comes to Kyrie Irving, I mean, they have disrespected Kyrie Irving to no end, but Aaron Rodgers gets a pass. Now, I think if he tests negative, he will play, but I hope he tests positive myself. But that's just me being petty and mean, I guess. Now the Sunday night game has the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. That is going to be a very good football game. Raiders coming off a terrible loss to the Giants. And meanwhile, Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, they look bad in victory. I mean, that was a terrible performance. Now, you want to say the Packers defense is that good? Or are the Chiefs offensive line that bad? I think it's a mixture of both. And I tell you what, York Peppermint Patty Mahomes. Boy, I don't want to hear any more about how great a quarterback he is. He has been dreadful. Now, I understand some of it is his offensive line, but a lot of it is him and his poor mechanics. He's become Brett Favre right before your eyes, and we know how that's worked out. He only had that one championship. Hey, that might be Peppermint Patty's only championship. And Tyreek Hill I didn't realize he had hands of stone either, but boy. It wouldn't be so bad if Andy Reid decided, you know what, let me lean on the running game every once in a while, but he doesn't like to do that. So now I do believe the Raiders are going to keep it close. I mean, they have responded to this interim head coach, but as much as I can't stand Peppermint Patty, I do believe that he will play better. I mean, he hasn't played great in a while, but the Raiders do have a decent pass rush, and they could get to him. And they're going to keep it close at home, but I just think the Chiefs, they just have too many weapons, and they're not going to score 10 points again. They're not going to do that. I think they're going to explode this Sunday night. I like the Chiefs 27-24 over the Raiders. Yeah, I can't stand Pat Mahomes. And I tell you what, if you get a chance, I did an upload a couple of years ago, and I understand a lot of people were upset at it. I don't care. I mean, when he was in college, he decided he was going to back George Zimmerman and the police over there. So I have no love for Pat Mahomes, and I want to hear, well, Pat Mahomes was only he was in college, like he didn't know right from wrong. Give me a break with that garbage. Can't stand it. Wouldn't mind him getting whacked, knocked out of the game, but I digress. Now the Monday night game, the LA Rams coming off a stinker. Boy, did they play bad last week. I mean, that's the Matt Stafford I remember in Detroit. Now he's going up against Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers look, they got ran up in last week. Now, there are some people who think that Kyle Shanahan has not done a good enough job this season. I beg to differ. I mean, they've had so many injuries. I mean, they lost their running back. I mean, Garoppolo's been in and out. Then it looked like they were trying to groom Trey Lance. He gets hurt. I think Kyle Shanahan has done a decent job trying to keep the team together. I mean, we just know that Jimmy G is just not that good. That's just all there is to it. Is he a decent? He's one of those guys, he can win you a few games. Listen, when they went to the Super Bowl, they won in spite of him. It wasn't because of him. I mean, my goodness. They act like this is something brand new about Jimmy Garoppolo. He never was and never will be a top-flight franchise quarterback. I mean, they ran the ball a ton, and their defense was great. They don't have that same front seven anymore. Now, they do have a very good front seven, but not a great front seven. Their secondary, not that great. Now, I do believe the Rams got exposed a little bit last week. Now, Stafford's going to play better than he did. I mean, if he plays like he did last week, then the Rams are in big trouble. But that's another story. I do believe that he will get it together. They don't have a big top-flight running back, and that hurts them too, because they need more balance on the offensive end. Now, would I be shocked if the 49ers won at home? Absolutely not. But I'm going to go with the Rams, but just barely. Listen, if you're betting and if they have the Rams like 4 and over, you go with the 49ers. Don't you dare take the Rams. But you know me, I'm just picking winners. I'm not going by any spread or things of that nature. The Rams in a close one, 23-20 over the San Francisco 49ers. And there you have it. Those are my NFL picks for Week 10 of 2021. I'd like to thank my favorite niece on site, April. And I'd like to thank all of you for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Claude signing out. Take care, stay safe, and God bless, ladies and gentlemen.